Hello Tankers, this is Dauntless, and today I'm going to be playing in my newly acquired WZ-132-1. Now this is the tier 10 Chinese light tank that I recently picked up, and the thing is pretty awesome. I'm not really accustomed to having a 105mm gun on a light tank yet, but I'm slowly figuring out how to play it. It's actually kind of weirdly consistent and accurate, but kind of derpy at the same time, and if you watch this replay you'll know what I mean. It'll make some crazy snapshots, and then sometimes you'll just miss like the easiest shots in the world, so a little bit weird, but again, not a bad tank at all if you are into light tanks. So the map today is Serene Coast, and the lineup is kind of interesting. They have a lot of heavily armored vehicles, a lot of heavy tanks, and then those Jagdpanther E100s up at the top. Our team, on the other hand, is a little bit better balanced, I would say. We have a few heavy tanks, some good players, and then we have a few mediums. Now, because we have two top-tier medium tanks, I'm not too concerned about the one line. Yes, they have a Batchat, they have some AMX-30s, but I feel like, for the most part, the one line and the two line will be okay. Now, what I'm worried about is the boot, or the 9-0 line down here, because it's very common for tank destroyers to camp up in this area, and these Jagdpanther E100s will most likely be camping up here, possibly with the 704 and the STRV. Now, if this happens, our heavy tanks, even if they do happen to push out and win this flank, they're going to get slaughtered. So just looking at that, I really want to do what I can to try to support the South, because I feel like the game is going to be decided by how the South is played out and not necessarily the 1-2 line. Now, I could, I guess, push the 1-2 line, but because we don't have a lot of medium tanks, we only have 3, and I don't really know what our tank destroyers are going to do. I feel like, the 1-2 line is going to be more stagnant, whereas, depending on how we do in the boot, it could either, cost us, if we win the boot, we could theoretically lose if we push into tank destroyers, and if we lose the boot, we're also going to lose. And so I really want to do what I can as a top tier to try to influence this battle. So a lot of you guys really don't know how to play light tanks very well, and I know that's why you like to watch my scout guides, but there are other ways that you can play your light tanks, and hopefully this replay will showcase that to you. So we will get the game started. Immediately, there are 2 spots that you can spot on. One lets you spot the 1-2 line, and then the next one lets you spot anything coming down the boot. Now, there are multiple ways you can take this. I generally like to take either the left side of the rock or the right side of the rock, and whoops, I accidentally bumped into that grille, or however you pronounce it, but popping out here, I immediately light a couple heavy tanks. Now, I want to get a shot onto this Conqueror, and unfortunately I was unable to do so. Now, this is what I mean by the gun is a little bit derpy, but I was able to get the spot damage from our grill, and next shot connects nicely. High roll there into the side of the VK. These VKs are the better players, the best players on their team other than the STRV, and so it is important that we try to get their health down as much as possible. They're kind of overpowered for tier 9 tanks, and they could give our southern flank quite a hassle if they're not taken out early. So trying to get early shots and early spots in this location is very important, because it'll allow you to really put a hurting on their team before they can even engage, and this is awesome for multiple reasons. It'll actually give your team quite the edge. So again, I was able to put another shot to the side of the VK, and before he even sees battle, before he can even spot us, he's only down to 351 health, and this is going to give our southern flank a huge advantage. Now, if you look at the mini-map here, the 1-2 line is actually, their team is being quite aggressive. And, we do have a lot of firepower up there, and so I'm not too concerned. And in the state that where they are, if they were hauling up at the D1 area, if they were all kind of clustered up here, I would feel more confident in actually going back over there and helping. But in the position they are now, pushing up here in a light tank and trying to brawl it out with them would just be suicide for me. And again, while I might not die, just putting myself in that situation where I'm going to lose a lot of HP is just not going to be the most productive. So I put a few shots into the side of the Jagdpanther E100, and I am unable to penetrate him. So I choose to close the distance. And this is what I mean by supporting the southern half. I understand that we're pushing, we're winning that flank, but that Jagdpanther E100 up at the top is going to be a hassle. So I'm going to try to move up closer so I can actually spot him for my team. In the process, I spot an Object 704, and it looks like he's being kind of aggressive. Now, I really don't want to get myself lit here, because, Jagdpanther E100 puts the shot into me. It could kill me in one shot if he rolls really high, and with a big caliber gun like that, it could really just wreak havoc, kill my crew members, knock out my modules, whatnot. So if you look at, using XPM, you can tell that the majority of the team has been lit other than artillery. This gives me the opportunity to know that on this flank there are only 3 vehicles I have to worry about: this Object 704, the VK, and the Jagdpanther 100. And as long as I can be a distraction, our team is going to have an easier time pushing up this way. So I wait till I'm not lit by the 704, which is probably right around now, and I use this bush on the right hand side to sneak up because he doesn't know where I am. He might think that I have relocated, and I put a shot into his side. Really unfortunate that that shot missed, or not missed, bounced. I mean, these APCR rounds have 246 penetration. You'd think I'd easily be able to go through the side of that tank, but apparently not. But I aim my second shot a little bit more careful, and I'm able to connect. He turns around trying to engage me. I put a shot to his lower plate and finish him off. Now, the VK is the only thing contesting our southern flank. I know that it's not going to be too much of a hassle to kill him, so I go try to focus out this Jagdpanther. And now, originally I was going to try to circle him and kill him, but it looks like he's mostly dead. I see that I have the side of his tank, so I put a nice shot there. He notices that I'm here now, so he's going to turn towards me because he doesn't want to be killed by me, and by showing his side to our allies, he is also eliminated. So now looking at the lineup, it's pretty even. I would say we have a slight advantage here just because we have pretty good defense going on our base, and we've completely won the south. Our tanks are pushing up, and I notice that the Jagdpanther 100 gets lit, and I'm going to pause it really quick here. In the position that he's in, he is above me, quite a bit above me actually because of those tracks, and this means that I'm going to have an easy time penning his lower plate. I notice that he just fired, so I'm going to push up, and I'm going to get a shot. Oh, and then this STRV. I prioritize the STRV for 2 reasons. One, he was going to shoot me, and I didn't want to peek further than I had to. And 2, he's a blue player, and I prioritize taking out stronger players. This, Jagdpanther 100, the fact that he's just sitting here and taking this kind of damage shows me that he just doesn't really know what he's doing. I get greedy and put the 3rd shot in. It had been 3 shots since that Jagdpanther fired, and fortunately for me, again, he wasn't the best player. Somehow he had HE loaded, and he doesn't penetrate me. So I'm up to 4k damage now, 2k spot, and, so far there's still a lot of meat left. The Bat Chat pops over and puts a shot into me, putting me down to a 1 shot, and I really have to be careful now because I really don't know if I can trust my team to win this or not, and I still want to have an outcome on this game. It would be nice to get a couple more shots in, farm a little bit more damage, and that Bat Chat could easily put an end to me, as well as the T-92, which just fired at me, I think. Could have been. Yeah, it was probably me that he was aiming at, and fortunately I was able to dodge it. So what I'm doing here is just putting distance. I have very good camouflage in this tank, and I know that if I put enough distance between me and the Bat Chat, if he peeks where he was last spotted, I'll be able to put a shot into him without him having much chance of spotting me. I put a blind shot in, hoping that he's there, and then it looks like he suddenly got lit, and he's on the other side of the tracks. And so with that information, I decide that it's time to close the distance. Sitting here is not going to benefit my team at all, and yeah, it's tempting to kind of sit back and hide a little bit and try to wait it out when you're at low health like this. But our team is somewhat healthy, and we're pushing in, and I know that if I want to get more damage, I'm going to have to be a little bit more aggressive. So I don't want to push right into the base where our Type 4 is, because he's capping, and he has a lot of aggro coming towards him. This gives me, as a light tank, a lot of opportunity to flank around. I'm hoping that this Bat Chat will give me a shot. He doesn't. He ducks down. Unfortunately, that got me lit, but at this point, I know where everything is, other than the artillery, and it's a good chance artillery is going to be camping at K3. So again, really using XBM is helpful because you can tell where the enemies are lit using the little light bulb icons on the side. And again, I don't want to risk popping out there because there's a good chance that STRV is camping on the top of that little knoll right here. And if I pop over the tracks, he's going to be able to shoot me. So again, really using the speed of your light tanks and getting around using areas that the enemy will have a very difficult time hitting you is a good bet. Now I see that this Bat Chat is coming down here, and I really don't want to get hit by him. He's aiming at me. It looks like he wants me, and I'm going to turn around, and what I'm doing here is not giving him much of a shot. He peeks around this corner. Now this tank has a very, very good turret armor, and I guess I can't show you really the angle, but basically by being in this position, I'm not giving him much of a shot, and I'm going to try to bait a shot off of him, and then when he's reloading his clip, which is only 2 seconds, I'm going to try to kill him. And I don't know if you saw or not, but he did fire, and he did miss. And he hit the knoll because most likely he was auto-aimed as well. Alright, so this VK is quite juicy, and I really don't want to try to hit him because I probably won't be able to